I simply walk out of here. I can get my coffee right here if I'd like, and right here is the train station, so then I can immediately enter the train station and be on my way. This part is great. This is the St. Pancras Station from the outside. Simply amazing, gorgeous architecture. It just makes you great about traveling through here. Fantastic clock tower and design altogether. This is one of my favorite buildings in London so far. Today I will show you the best thing about traveling in Europe. I'm at the St. Pancras International train station, and from here I'm going to catch my next train. This is only just a few minutes after I caught one at my hotel at Aldgate station, so it's been no more than 10-15 minutes since I stepped out of the hotel. And here's this station. Always good to hear some classic music in Europe on the streets or in the stations. The second level of the St. Pancras station, and it's the more impressive one because look at this. First of all, it's grand, and second, there are trains on the second level, so the rail goes all the way up. So they managed to make a two-level station where you can catch domestic trains on the top and foreign ones on the bottom. There's a statue of a traveler here. A kindred soul. This is the waiting area at the station where they simply have left a piano and one of the passengers is playing very, very well. And this is where everyone's waiting.
Hotel line and three hotel lines.
I'm looking for my car. It should be number 9.
Recording all our conversations.
And just like that, 2.5 hours later, I'm in Paris. I can't think of any other place where you can just hop on a train and for 2 hours you'll be going to another world-class city. Like, so you can go between London and Paris within 2.5 hours. Very easy ride. It's not cheap by any means, it's quite expensive actually, but that's how it is, and that's the best thing about traveling in Europe. The trains, the train infrastructure is very impressive. The trains are very fast and very convenient. So I'm I'm in Paris, but this is the northern train stations, which is pretty far, and apparently there's a strike, so the trains are not running, so I have to get a really expensive Uber. But welcome to France. Let's see how it is. And of course there's a strike in France because it's France. This is the northern train station. It's a pretty cool building. Overall the surroundings are cool as well. A little busy though, and you get swarmed by the taxi drivers trying to harass, but other than that it's pretty cool.
The world is crazy.
So nobody's working, no services.
No services.
Only taxi and Uber.
Yes. No, we haven't Uber. We haven't taxi yet here. The all taxi they work yet.
Right, but there's so much traffic now because there's no train.
Yeah. You don't speak French?
I don't. Yes, sorry.
Why?
First time in France today. Right now I arrived.
Oh. Yeah. Brexit, I think, is good for Gross Britannia, for England. I think it's good for the population. I think, because I'm driver, I need minimum 1,500 euro in month. I need it, minimum. Another driver, he come from Poland, for example.
Right.
He can work only for 300 euro. Do you understand? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. I made it. Now I need to get into the room. So that was not easy at all. I'm like an hour late after arriving because there was a crazy traffic jam. Took a long time for the driver to get to me, and then it took a long time to get to the location of my B&B. But I still have some daylight left, and I'm right next to Notre Dame, so I have a great location. I just need the keys to my room, and then I'll be on my way. I also need some coffee and some food, which there's a lot of here. No elevator has been fit into this old building. Gotta climb 5 stories every time, and they count from 0, so there's truly 6. But while you climb, the view is kind of nice. Ooh, feels like last century. Here's my room. Okay, it was not easy, but I got into my Airbnb and I really like it. I'm on the top floor and you can have all the nice ceilings, but this is the main area here with a little couch and a little kitchen, even a washing machine that I may put to use, and it has air filters and it has everything you need really. So I'm pretty pleased with this. Here is the bedroom. A nice bedroom. You can get a desk, and it's quite spacious bed, and a bathroom which is pretty decent as well. Glass encasing for the shower. But the coolest thing is the location, and let's see if we can get through the window here. Here's where we are. This is Paris, and right over there is the way to Notre Dame, and on this side I just see more buildings. It looks very charming. And over here you have these very typical Parisian balconies, which I like to see. I want to feel like I'm in the place, something characteristic. So yeah, very nice. I really like this place. The location is just perfect. I'm next to Notre Dame. I can walk everywhere, which really helps with this general strike which has shut down all the services in the city. Traffic is horrible. Uber was spiking almost 3 times, so I overpaid like crazy. Almost $60 for something that should have been 20-ish, and I should have even been able to get here by train, but I had no choice. I had to come check into my room and drop off my bag, so I had to pay Uber for the spike. Oh well. Now I'm here and I don't mind. I will go out immediately now.
Quand il l'attendait sur la plage, il regardait pour tuer le temps les cortèges ventripotents qui défilaient sur le rivage, les vieilles tartinées de crème, les quinquagénaires sans complexe qui mettent à nu pour leur harem leur anatomie babouinesque. Il n'y en avait que pour un moment.
Very charming flower shop. Everything looks just like what you would expect it to look. That's the funniest part. Like everything you look at is the most strange thing you've ever seen. Which of course is gonna be true when you come to France for the first time. But there's a point to what I'm saying, which is pretty funny. Everything is just so characteristically French, strongly characteristically. Look, it's a Tintin shop, which is someone with my name. Oh yeah, fun fact, the #1 name in France is Martin, actually, but you just say it differently. There's a street fish market right here. I was like, it smells like fish, and here we go, they're shucking oysters. Looks like the Eiffel Tower is just about an hour of a walk down this way, and it was not going to be hard to get to at all, especially with such beautiful scenery around me. There's so much to look at, and it really is appealing to me. I didn't think I would like it this much. I can spend days simply photographing their balconies here. This is crazy. They're so cool. Golden hour on the Parisian street side cafes. And French music is playing from the restaurants. And here in the distance we see probably the most true icon of Paris and France right now, the Eiffel Tower. I'm right under the Eiffel Tower, and it's actually more impressive than I thought it would be. It's huge. It's huge and it's pretty classic looking. It's cool. It's ornate, giant, impressive. It's over 100 years old now. Sitting right in the back there. And the tower is right here. There we go. Very cool scenery here. This is on top of the big palace that looks straight at the Eiffel Tower. Big crowd, the biggest so far in this city. Here's the tower right ahead. Here are the wings of the palace. Here's some kind of dance. So cool. I stumbled on an ice rink inside of an exposition palace, I would say. It's incredible, and there's a light show going on. So I didn't know if this was here at all and just found it. I'm gonna try to see if they have rentals for skates. Hopefully this is not the worst idea ever. I'm about to go ice skating. And I haven't done it for a long time, and I have all my gear on my back, so let's see. I have to quickly remember how to do this and get into it. There we go. It's been a few years. Turns out I remember how to do this, so it's really fun. I'm so glad I stumbled upon this place. Going kind of fast now. But it's hard with the GoPro. But yes, I'm so glad I remember how to do this. For the time you stumble into a giant ice rink laser show in Paris. Simply fantastic, so much fun. Great find. Wow, that was so much fun. Such a great thing to stumble upon randomly on a Saturday night in Paris. I loved it so much.
Elle arrivait dans un instant sur un panneau, un poisson chic d'un orange fluorescent, initiait tous les passants aux rudiments du sens civique et aux problèmes d'environnement qui se combattent en slip de bain, pelle et balayette à la main, grand sac poubelle entre les dents. Il n'y en avait pour un moment. Elle arrivait dans un instant, le bruit des moteurs des jet skis donnait à ce panorama la solennité musicale qui fait toucher à l'au-delà. les cris de la marmaille en sueur.
Beautiful view of the Eiffel Tower here with all these cannons. I'm eyeing this museum there in the back. I'm here at the Museum of the Army in Paris, and I read that it has the tomb of Napoleon, and I'm so excited because he's my all-time favorite historic figure, and I cannot wait to see that. It's amazing. I can talk about Napoleon all day, but I'm trying to not completely take up all my space on the card. I just want to experience this and see how it is. Ludovicus Magnus, Louis the Great. Looks like Louis the 14th, but I'm not sure if that is who it depicts. I finally found it, the Napoleon Museum. In this majestic building in front of me is the tomb of Napoleon. Apparently this is one of the best buildings that Louis XIV built, and he was the most proud of. So appropriately they put Napoleon in it after his death. As soon as you enter the door, you see front and center a giant monument, and his sarcophagus in there is the most grand I've seen of anyone I've seen buried. It's quite incredible. Napoleon is buried right behind me. Amazing, literally amazing. Well, this was the absolutely most appropriate way for me to end my tour of Paris, because Napoleon is my all-time favorite historical figure, basically my favorite human that ever lived that I didn't know. And that is because I find him to be the most capable out of all of history. I don't see any such figure who was able to achieve so much in such a short time and was able to impact as much as he did. And contrary to other, strongmen or whatever you call them, dictators, he was not really in no way evil. He wasn't motivated by some kind of evil desires. He really just was mostly under attack, but he fought harder than anyone ever against all the powers of his day, and he defeated them repeatedly for around 20 years. And so that's basically him against the world for so long. And he was so close to winning, but in the end it wasn't meant to be, I guess. If he had won, history would be completely different. And what I see in him is something which I strongly believe in, which is a restoration of the glory of the ancient world, which is what he was motivated by. In a way, he was striving to recreate Rome and to bring back those ideals and values which Rome upheld, which are the ones of valor and glory and honor and those things which are so easily lost in today's world. So what he did is, in the modern world, just about 200 years ago, he was able to restore those values, and he was on the battle lines himself. He's famous for that. He wasn't an armchair general, and just in every single way he was amazing, including when he became the ruler. He was one of the best rulers there ever were, and was able to achieve so much in so little time while at war with everybody. He commissioned some of the grandest building projects. He rewrote the laws of almost all of Europe, and it just goes on and on. No one's ever no one ever in the history of the world was able to achieve so much in so little time. One of the great churches is here. And behind it you can see the Pantheon, which is huge. So this ahead of me is the Pantheon, and what's interesting about this one is that even though it is called a Pantheon, and normally that means it depicts gods or the meaning of the word Pantheon is all the gods that a certain group of people believes in. This one actually has philosophers in it, and it's from the Revolution era, where they tried to replace religion with philosophy. This is an impressive building with a huge dome, one of the biggest ones. Here we go, the Pantheon. Whoa, crazy big. It really gives you all striking. Some of the famous people here in this Pantheon, I think, are Rousseau and possibly Voltaire. I need to find out, but people from that era, definitely before the revolution, the people that woke up France to reason instead of religion. Wow, that was well worth the visit, because never mind that the building is amazing and awe-inspiring, you know, it has a grand design and everything, but the crypt was my favorite part, where I was able to see the graves of Voltaire and Rousseau and Victor Hugo and Alexander Dumas, and these are all colossal figures in world culture, but in particular in European culture, and everyone who was educated with the classics in Europe, like I was, can't help but be awestruck when you're in the presence of these people's remains. And I personally spent like over a year of my life reading the books of Dumas and Hugo, a lot of them, and they've really affected me, because those were the early teenage formative years, and I still think fondly when I remember that era, the Romantic era writers, and I can't help it. It's so that they instill in you something that you carry for the rest of your life, and you can come and be in their presence in a very remote way, of course, here. The biggest reasons I'm so impressed with Paris is that here is the best example of what I call the grand design of a city, where you have these huge beams or avenues or boulevards, whatever you call them, connecting with each other, and across them are incredible epic landmarks. So here I'm at this arch at the Louvre, and when I walk straight I see the Arc of Triumph all the way in the distance near the horizon, and in between is an obelisk. So the whole thing was planned out, and once you get there you can start going to another side and you see the palaces near the Eiffel Tower, and then the Eiffel Tower itself, and that also is a very grand design that spans multiple kilometers. What I'm approaching in the distance and what I'm looking at right now is simply incredible. It's like a living painting, and what it is from here is the end of the garden of the Louvre. You're exiting the Louvre, which is you're exiting the era of the great kings of France, and through that gate there, past the obelisk, you enter the new era, which is that of the revolution. So it's this street here that begins with the end of the garden. This side you see the Louvre, and on this side you see the Arc of Triumph. So it's highly symbolic of France through the ages, where you see now going this way is like the progression of time. I'm now standing on the edge of the Louvre's garden next to a big obelisk, and this is an important place because from here you can see many of the great attractions in France. And when I say attractions, here it's more like great colossal works of historic importance, more so than something to just look at for whatever reasons you may be used to when you're being a tourist. But from here what I'm going to do is, there's the Eiffel Tower and there's more buildings there, but right ahead here is probably the most famous street in the world, Champs-Élysées. Just about everywhere you look in Paris there are stunning works of art in the form of fountains, and I always wondered why they went all out on fountains. Like, they really are impressive, and it's among the best I've ever seen. The reason is actually that they are not all decorative and pompous. They were built to supply the city with fresh water to overcome disease. So in the way, the grandeur and the glory depicted on them actually symbolizes humanity overcoming nature, and in fact the ill parts of nature, the disease and so on. And that's why they are so important, that they are ornate and expensive like this. I'm now walking down Champs-Élysées, and it's a big road with at least 4 lanes and some even more bus lanes, and it would be unpleasant to walk next to, but it has very large sidewalks on both sides, as well as series of trees lining it, many rows of trees actually, not just 1 or 2. So it actually is quite nice, and you may think that we're done with the palaces, but no. Right on the left here next to me are 2 very large palaces, and here I am now standing in between 2 more palaces on each side of the street. So one is here with this incredible gate right behind me, and the other one is across the street over there. And what's interesting about this palace is that it is newer. It's what's called Art Beau, and it's a resurrection of neoclassicism and Baroque in later years, and I believe it was built at the same time as the Eiffel Tower for the World Expo. Here you can see the 2 palaces in the same time, and right across from them all the way down is one of the grandest palaces in the whole of Paris, which I will visit soon after. But you can see how there are 3 palaces here at the triangle. The whole thing is designed immaculately on a large scale. Here's one of the sides of the Grand Palace, featuring an incredible statue up top with 4 horses in very dramatic positions and a female statue up top. Here's now the commercial, more modern part of Champs-Élysées, which even on a rainy day, on a Monday, it's still quite crowded. I think this is the most popular place for people in Paris to go down and hang out. But yeah, this street is now all what you would expect in a modern city, really. Yet it has the older architecture, but it's all cafes and stores and banks and offices and so on. So it's probably where a lot of people go to work as well. And of course it has all the little cafes which Paris is famous for. All the big fashion brands have their stores here. Like here we have Nike and Rolex and others, and they're all quite ornate. Definitely trying to shine here and set the style for the whole world from this street. Big Louis Vuitton store here on Champs-Élysées, and of course the owner of Louis Vuitton is the richest person in France by far, so it makes sense he would make a centerpiece here. A ornate store here by Dior, very nice. I do like to see examples of the gorgeous things we can do in today's world versus cement and all that. But yeah, this is very nice. I'm approaching another centerpiece of Paris, and that is the Arc of Triumph, built for Napoleon's victories, and it's a lot bigger than I ever imagined. I didn't realize it's this big. But what's more interesting is I'm seeing people on the top there, which is telling me that obviously there's a way to get up. Here it is, in all its glory. You actually have to have an underpass to get to the arc itself. Right here. And it says access. Wow, that was quite the climb, but this is it, the best view in Paris so far. Wow. So that over there looks like the new Paris. If you continue down the street which I was walking on, you will end up at the skyscrapers, which is rather interesting. I will try to make it there to see what they're up to there. Here's the big road I took, Champs-Élysées, this one in particular in the middle. And it goes all the way to the Louvre, which is big enough that you can still see it here. On this side we have the Eiffel Tower, which is really close actually. Here you can see very well illustrated the grand design of Paris, where the arc is in the center of all these beams which connect right here in a big circle. So you see how the city, all the big boulevards connect in one place. And if you keep going around, you keep seeing more and more of these giant boulevards. Many of them are connecting right here. This is the biggest hub of all the roads in Paris. Very, very well designed city. It's like a big star. Everything converges here. That's how this traffic even works. You can see it over there. It's just madness. There are definitely not lanes, and it's going in different directions. Back down now, and this arc really is colossal. I never knew it was this big. Just here is the shape where the arc is, where I just was. Here Champs-Élysées, where I came up on it, the biggest, and then as soon as you get through the arc, here is La Grande Armée Avenue, and that's where I am right now. Apparently that leads to a big park as well, so it should be very close to me. And then beyond that is where I see the new Paris. Things are already changing here, and it's all becoming modern. Out here the traffic is much worse, and you can see the architecture is dramatically different as well. This looks like it was done in the 20th century and already looks a lot more stripped down, not ornate and not so charming. When you look forward, you see a pretty crazy difference. This is something that I guess science fiction writers may have dreamed up. I think across from here with these balconies is some kind of dwelling. Quite different. And above there looks like corporate headquarters. Look like blades, like knives or barbed wire at the top, razors. To go from that over there, the old, charming, elegant Paris of old, into this kind of dwelling, to me it looks like an amazing fall from grace. And it's little doubt why modern people feel often depressed and they find the lack of meaning to surround them, and it's pervasive and hard to shake, because look at how we have chosen to live now. This is, to me, unbearable, and it's a very stark existence. I wouldn't want to live this way. On this side we see more of this kind of architecture, which I'm assuming is from the 60s or something. It looks like brutalism to me, with a little bit of decoration. And here we see the brand new type of architecture, which is entirely made of aluminum and glass usually, and also has very little ornate elements. Here this is simply stunning to me, how repetitive and unkept this is compared to all the rest of Paris. There's more of it on this side. Is this really how we want to live in this century? Here they've tried to cheer up the vibe with a little Santa falling out of the window, because man, this is dark. This is depressing. The part I do like are these pathways. Footbridges connect all these buildings, and that is good. That gives you that science fiction concept of the vertical city interconnected. You can stay above ground. There are many such movies and games, and originally there were illustrations in science fiction journals where they came up with that, and now it exists right here, which I like a lot. It's not all bad, let's put it this way. More and more work is being done, so this is quite of a new part of Paris here. You see a lot of it is still under construction. Here we have what is supposed to be art, but it's really tubes, cylinders with some tiles. You know, where is the amazingness of the old age, where everything was ornate with elegance and patterns resembling nature and so on. Check out the brutalism. How does this make you feel? I don't like it. It is like this giant rough concrete thing hanging over your head, making you feel small and removing any beauty from the landscape. This is really postmodernism, when all these ideas of killing the past are to be made real into an environment, and you see what the future looks like if we don't change our thinking. Just about everything here is based on geometry. There's nothing nature inspired, there's nothing curved. Some things are slightly curved, but even they're crude and made of geometric panels of some sort, like the sphere there, also geometry, and all made of rectangular panels. Here is the enormous, insane arch. This is insane. Wow. This is so brutal. This is neo-brutalism, what you're seeing here. It was made recently, but is as brutal as it gets. You can see the size of people sitting around. This is insanely big. And it actually serves as a building, so you can count how many floors. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22. It appears to be exactly 30 stories, 30 floors up. So it's two 30-floor towers joined at the top. In the middle, there's strange metal and canvas structure. What would this aim to inspire? I wonder, when you create environment, you aim to inspire something. What exactly do you aim to inspire here? When I got up and I looked out from the arch, I looked exactly at the Arc of Triumph, which I stood on just about an hour or so ago. It took me over an hour, I think, to walk here. So the grand design of Paris is still at play, because this whole thing is made to seamlessly connect all the way to Old Paris through this giant boulevard, which is the biggest in the city. And now this one is a new city. This is the newest part of Paris, which is very, very different. This is France's view or vision of entering the new era. This is how it feels. It's it kind of leaves you speechless, to be honest. This view that I see and the entire walk that I did all the way from the Louvre to here, I walked for hours and hours, and I did that for a reason. I wanted to see France through the ages, and I did, and now I'm in the current age. So you can see how they did this out here, way out, and not in the middle. They are not destroying Old Paris. That would be completely insane. They're keeping it as is and hopefully maintaining it. Well, you also see that they do have a vision of the future here, or even the present that is already here, but they've spaced it out and they are keeping their treasure, and hopefully they get to be a main player in the new era, because they were so strong in previous eras, and they were able to give the world so much of all kinds of achievements. And I would like to see what they can do in this era. And seems like they've begun here, for better or for worse. They've chosen a very brutal style, but perhaps it can be improved on or polished or transformed into something appealing. There is in a way a certain charm in this brutal style, but that charm, it kind of warps your mind. It makes you something else, and that has to do with a whole other topic of how our own nature is changing, and as we are changing our environment with really broad strokes of the brush, we are no longer delicately altering this and that way like the classic world was. The classic world would harvest marble and then erect columns, but it would not entirely remake huge swaths of land like this overnight. That power is new, and we need to learn to be careful with it.
Parlez-moi d'épidémie, je vous ris au nez. Toutes celles que j'admire font ricaner. Ce qui surtout me fait mal, ce qui est navrant, c'est que le tréponème pâle laisse tout le monde indifférent. Oh mon petit tréponème, dis-tu te rappelles, tu faisais autorité dans tous les bordels. Le putanat est ingrat, il t'a balayé. Moi je me souviens de toi, où diable es-tu donc passé? À présent les maladies, rien de plus banal. Par tous ces temps le tropisme de l'hôpital. Se déchirer une cuisse est une consécration. Du temps de la syphilis, on avait de la distinction. Oh mon petit tréponème, dis te souviens-tu, quand dans la crème de la crème tu étais couru, les femmes de qualité à l'esprit abstru. À présent t'ont oublié, où diable as-tu disparu? Dans notre armée de métiers, que d'intolérants. Les femmes sont invitées à grossir les rangs. Mais on me dit qu'on recale le règlement inique à la visite médicale, la moindre syphilitique. Oh mon petit tréponème qui fut dans l'histoire de la femme à soldat l'irremplaçable accessoire. On te donne, on te honnie, dame, ne parlez plus jamais d'épidémie, c'est triste à pleurer.
This looks to me like the strike which is causing all the problems in the city. Demonstration in one of the squares here. I don't know exactly what they're saying, obviously, but I think it is the strike. I see many of the unions and syndicates and political parties present, so it has to be that. And I think they're protesting or demonstrating right in front of the symbol of the Republic here. From the little that I have read, this huge strike going on for so long, shutting down all the services, is because there are proposed pension reforms. Now, especially in America, everyone says that France is crazy when it comes to the social welfare, pensions and all kinds of stuff they get, and that's really hurting their competitiveness. So Macron, the president, is proposing reforming all these welfare programs, it seems. Something like a neoliberal program to start cutting welfare and regulations to make them more competitive in the global markets. And this is the reaction to that. So let's take a look. CGT. So quite interesting here. Some of them are a little bit rowdy, but it's not really in any way violent currently. Though we do know that France erupts in fire often from these gatherings and protests. There's a flag of Che Guevara over there, right there. Definitely communist and socialist presence here, which you would assume from the presence of unions, and that's really who's instigating all this. It continues quite a while. Excuse me, do you know what's going on here?
There is a big demonstration against Macron's pension,
yeah, retirement,
reform. Yeah, so there are a lot of people against the government.
I see.
And, against the entire politics, government's politics.
I see. So this means that all these people are not working and they're parts of different government services?
Yeah. The people is striking today.
Right. So these are the people who are part of the strike?
Sorry?
These people are part of the strike, they're in the unions?
Yeah, I think a lot of them belong to a union, but there are also a lot of people outside of the union. Yeah.
Supporters?
Yeah, supporters.
I see. And is there like a political party behind this, or is it everybody?
There are a lot of political parties in the demonstration, but there are the unions like CGT and Force Ouvrière. They are the backbone of the demonstration.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So my assumptions are largely correct. This is the doing of the union, but some political parties are backing it. And a lot of them are striking workers, but it's also people who support them who are here. This is largely a doing of the French left wing, if you think about it. I don't know whether the same people who are part of the yellow vest movement are aligned with this. I only see a few yellow vests, and some of them are yellow, but they have the union signage, which normally the yellow vests don't have. So I think these are different people. I think the yellow vests are either more in the middle or to the right, and these people are more on the left. But regardless, they have a lot of numbers in here, and they came out quite strong. Now it is clear why none of the public services are working, because all the people that are meant to be working are here. And they're not only shutting down trains and things, they're shutting down the streets as well, at least in this area. This is the first time I came around here and saw this. It's pretty big, I have to say, it's very large. So this is largely a protest against Macron's reforms, but it also is altogether against neoliberalism itself, or you could say capitalism, which they kind of go hand in hand together. Now, if you remember, Macron barely defeated Le Pen, who is the leader of the right wing, and Macron is more of a centrist. He's not left wing either. His predecessor was the socialist, and he was incredibly unpopular in the end, very low rating, and he was removed because of that. So apparently he does still have support, or at least the Socialist Party does, and everyone on the left, because this is pretty huge. And if Macron, who was the centrist who barely won last time, is facing such backlash from the left and from the right, it really makes you wonder how long a more centrist government can survive in France. It seems to me that the next one is going to be either on the left or on the right, most likely on the right actually, if we judge by the results last time. So it's very, very likely that when Macron is up for re-election, if he even makes it that far, we're going to see a very different situation in France. And what you're seeing here, at least to me as someone who lives in the USA, it looks like a lot of public discontent, and it echoes what I've heard from a lot of people who I've been talking to, and they say the same thing. Like, people are stressed right now, they're not very happy about the situation here. A lot of things they're having to sacrifice, and now it's coming down to pensions apparently are on the chopping block. So the situation, it appears to me, unsustainable. Something will change, and if I had to guess where the next country in the West is where things are going to change a lot, it's France.
La lutte, c'est classe!
Classe contre classe!
La lutte, c'est classe!
Classe contre classe!
La justice sociale!
Unité syndique!
Now this part no longer looks so much like a party, and people are more serious and have their slogans and so on. and they're standing around here blocking something. I don't know why they're gathered exactly here, but this whole thing is incredibly big. I'm surprised looking at certain scenes here in the streets of Paris. Can't help but remind you of the revolution. Nothing is yet violent. Some people are lighting firecrackers over there, but that's not much. But there have been severe fights in the yellow jacket or yellow vest protests. I don't think this will erupt in such, because this has to do with the government workers, and it would be pretty bad if some kind of fight comes out of them, but who knows. This is France, so anything can happen. It has a very strong protest culture, and you could say riot culture and revolution culture. So we don't know what happens. This is happening about 4 hours before I have to catch my train, so it's rather on the tail end, but I'll stay here as long as I can and try to film it and see what I can get here. I managed to get a bit of a high ground, and you can see this is like a sea of people. It's a lot, and it's been going on for blocks now, many blocks. It's a lot of discontent. You can say in the US there's a lot of bickering among political circles, but the American people are not coming out like this by the tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. And I think that is mostly because the economy in the USA is very good. Well, here it's coming down to cutting public services at this point. So you can see there's a lot of discontent. And this is mostly from the left. Think if all the left and the right that were discontent came out at once, what that would look like. Here's the French police standing in full armor, and they even have the gas masks if in case, and tear gas. Very impressive. So far what I'm seeing though, the police are outnumbered in very, very large numbers. If this turns into a riot, it will be pretty hard to control it and to take cover. But I imagine the police has done this many times and is prepared. However, there have been times in the last year of protests where it has looked quite perilous that it will slip out of control. So I have often wondered, just watching news, how close is the protest to overpowering the state. I don't know. I don't truly know the power of the French state to be able to control this, but it seems like it has a lot of opposition, so it makes you wonder what support it has and what resources it has and how much manpower it has and so on to be able to control this and to survive truly, because I think a lot of these people and the yellow vest protest, both of them really want to overthrow this government, so I don't see it surviving for long, especially since they're also up for re-election not long from now. If so many people are against you, how you win the re-election, I'm not so sure. I just am impressed by the size of this crowd. I don't necessarily agree with these people's point at all. I'm simply reflecting this as I see it. I don't bring any of my views into this. Over there I'm seeing communist flags waving, so there's little doubt that a lot of this has to do with the far left. Here's an overhead shot to try to get a grip of how long it goes. All the way to the end over there, it's completely packed with people densely, and it goes beyond that as well, and also in this direction it goes all the way. So as long as I can see, I don't see an end to it. It is really, really large, and this is of course happening in a city which has over 12 million people, maybe even 15 or something like that. So and here they have such numbers, and if they all come out at once, this is what happens. here I see someone whose backpack says Extinction Rebellion. I really am curious what that is about. And he's in yellow, so that is different. I'm close to where this march culminates now, and it seems like a little rowdier here. Some fireworks are going off and things like that, and there's a very heavy police presence here in particular. I don't know if anything will happen more major than this, but I'm pretty stuck as well. The crowd is very, very thick. Looks like this pillar ahead here is the culmination of the march. The march goes for a very long time, and there are gonna be many more people coming into here, so it's gonna get extremely hard to get out of here, and I have little time until my train at this point. I can't be stuck here for too long. Currently the police have sealed off this whole square, and they're lining it on every side, so whoever comes into here will have a hard time getting out, except there's a little break here which I'll try to use. Some people are going through. Bumped into that policeman's shield there for a second, which is not the best idea. Yeah, you can see police vans lining this whole area, many police with shields. They're ready for anything to go off. Whether it will, nobody knows. Normally in these cases there's some provocateurs who are trying to make things heat up, to try to stress a point. There's a line of people trying to get through, but the police is not letting people get out actually. People are coming into the gathering, but not able to get out of it, which is strange. Especially since I'm one of the people that need to get out of here and catch my train. But police are controlling it, and I don't understand exactly what's happening. I think I can get out, I hope. Let's try. Here as well we see people who are trying to get out and are not being let out by the police. In this whole circle around this big pillar there's police cordon, and we that ended up entering here are having a hard time getting out, even though you may have nothing to do with this and just get caught up in it, and now I have no idea how to get out. We'll see. The police is on the move here, so I'm going to walk that way and hope I find a break in the police cordon so I can get out of here and get on my way to catch my train, because this is pretty nuts. I can't spend too much longer here. It's huge. I wanted to film it going backwards, but now I understand I'm gonna get stuck. Lady Justice there with a scale and a sword. I can go right over there and try to get out of this thing and look back. But this is a pretty cool shot here as it's coming forward. So I couldn't film this part, but I finally got out, and there was still a line of police right there as well. Right there, there's a line of police, and they checked me for weapons and then they let me out. On the other side where I'm now walking, I see many police on motorcycles, So I still don't know if I'm in the clear, and I also don't know where I am. I need to come back towards central Paris. Excuse me, I have to catch my train to Gare Nord. How can I get there?
Gare du Nord, c'est quelle direction? C'est tout droit.
Gare du Nord.
This direction.
Okay.
In front, at the end of the street.
Okay. And there's no more blocking there?
No. Here blocking, but
okay.
Here it's free.
Okay, I'll try this way. Thank you. So I checked the map, and it is not a good direction for me to be walking in. It has to be a huge circle before I can turn back towards the train station this way. And in addition to that, I have to walk an extra mile to get my baggage, which I checked in into a locker. Gate here pretty thick. They've linked up their cars and everything, so I don't know how to get through. I'm gonna ask them if they'll let me through. It's not possible at all.
Because it's closed here, you understand?
Can I not just cross through
No,
here?
it's not possible.
Because I have nothing to do with this.
You can take on right and you ask on right, okay?
Go
On
this
the
way.
next street on right, and
Okay.
you ask.
Alright, these policemen actually let me pass by. Now I need to get out of the other side of them so I can be on my way. This is crazy. Wow, finally I managed to get out, and so now I'm across the big blocked off area, and I can probably move around now without getting stuck in this thing again. That was pretty crazy. I think I'm cutting close. I have about 2 hours to get my bag from the locker and then go back to the train station. I am pretty far towards East Paris, and I have to get to Central to get the bag, and then to North, and I have to do all that on foot because everything shut down because of the strike and this protest. Even though I'm walking in a very large circle around the protest, the police are also here and sectioning everything off, you can see, and I really cannot get stuck again, so I have to continue moving out. I have to be faster than things happen. If the police decides to shut this down as well, then I'm stuck again, and who knows how long I have to walk. Here's another huge line of police waiting for directions or commands. Another whole line of police cars is moving in. That's a lot of them, vans. They're empty, which makes you wonder if they'll be full of people soon that get picked off the street or something, or does the intent at least. This is bad because even after I draw up a huge circle, I'm still up against the protest and the police here. People may be able to pass through. I will have to check out because I am trying to get through and they're exactly in my way. There's this big boulevard here, the big gray line on the map is exactly where I need to cross, and that's exactly where the protest is. Even here I'm up against the protest. I really don't care anymore. I've been walking for 30,000 steps today, which is 20 kilometers through Paris today, and this protest is in my way to go and get my bag, and then I have 2 hours to get out of the country, and instead I am blocked by this. But I think the police is no longer on this end, so I can actually go through. This is what's going on here. At this point there are fires and whatnot. Jeez. There we go. Paris is ablaze. leave it at because I managed to cut through and I really don't want to get stuck again. I simply cannot get stuck again, or I would not be able to catch my plane to America. So I'm walking away from this protest. It's been fun, it's been eye-opening, and I have a lot of content to put on YouTube, but I need to get out.